Alrighty, here we are on the InfoWars. Half of Austrians support deporting aliens. 47 believe in replacement migration. Well, that's a step in the right direction, I'd say. Well, let's get into it. A new poll shows that half of all Austrians back re-immigration, while 38% say they would not want to live next to a Muslim. Can't blame them for that after everything that's happened. And that is happening because it's still going on. In fact, it's probably gotten even worse in recent years. The poll found that 50% of Austria says extensive re-immigration is urgently needed. Another 40% agree with the statement that Austrians are being replaced by migrants. Yes, it's nice that so many people are finally seeing that they're literally being replaced. Breaking: Austria's right-wing election winners want to appoint a new EU re-immigration commissioner. For the first time in history, the FPO, this is actually the first time I'm hearing about this FPO, are putting forward their MP, Dr. Suzanne Frust, to serve in this role. Now, what is re-immigration? Well, according to Google, re-immigration is the act of migrating again, particularly returning to one's original or previous home. Good. Yes, send them back. Returning to the article, a small percentage, 36%, say they would not want to live next to a Muslim, and even more people, albeit slightly higher, about 38%, are against Roma and Sinti groups living next to them. Another 1 in 10 say they would not want to live next to a Jewish person. That's probably a leftist. Get it? Because Mustache Man was a socialist? Anywho, moving on. However, a plurality of Austrians accept the idea of having everyone as a neighbor, reaching 45%. The polling seems to suggest there is a sharp split down the middle of Austrian society. So that 45% that everybody's a neighbor, well, I was like that a while ago. It's that whole diversity is a strength thing. Is diversity a strength? Yeah, but when you bring in immigrants into a land that has a native population, that native population becomes a minority. So that 45%, they're destroying diversity by letting everybody in. And I've said this numerous times on various videos, the whole push for diversity or immigration into Western countries was quite literally pushed, in my opinion, by politicians who were, in my opinion, paid by corporations to bring in people. Why? Because the corporations need more wage slaves. Alrighty, back to the article. The war between Israel and Palestine may be a factor, with the poll also asking Austrians about the war there. Reportedly, 42% of respondents agree with the statement that Israel's policy in Palestine is like that of the Nazis in the Second World War. So yeah, that 1% that doesn't want to live next to a Jewish person is probably a leftist, like I said. Great replacement in Austria's school system. More than 3/4 of students in Vienna's middle schools do not speak German at home, according to new statistics. Well, no, because most of those kids aren't ethnic German, probably. Israeli-related anti-Semitism has also increased, said Down Director Andreas Kranbitter, expressing dissatisfaction with the poll results and adding that right-wing extremism in Austria should not be underestimated. Most of these people who are anti-Israeli tend to be leftists, in my opinion. I mean, here's somewhat of an example. This woman's holding a sign, Jews for Palestine. Woman, if you went to Palestine, I don't think you'd be warmly received. I'll just leave it right there. But yeah, they blame right-wing extremists. They go on to say that Austria should not underestimate the threat of right-wing extremism, and that it's a democratic problem. Well, don't underestimate the left-wing extremists either, because then you'll really have a problem. In this mini article here, it says Sweden has announced plans for voluntary re-immigration. Yeah, I don't think that'll work. And why? Why would they leave the West to go back to where they came from? They'll lose all the give-me-that's. The poll noted that those with an extreme right-wing attitude are much more likely to back certain statements, such as the belief that comprehensive reimmigration is necessary. Well, it is. I mean, if diversity is important and should be protected, you have to remove these people because they're not native. Even if you have a small amount of immigration, sooner or later, it's going to destroy the ethnic diversity, the native diversity of Europe as a whole. The same thing what happened with the Native Americans. Mass immigration, conflict, they became a minority. Another more modern example, London, England. It's only 40% white. The capital of England, the native home of the Anglo-Saxon, is only 40% white. And of that white population, how many are ethnic Anglo-Saxon, I wonder? How funny, and yet sad. When I was growing up, I was told that diversity is to be protected and that it's a strength. And now that I want to protect the native diversity of a land, for my diversity is my strength, I'm called a right-wing extremist. Alright, so it goes into various other smaller statistics here. I'm gonna continue on because this video is getting a little long. Reimmigration. I have absolutely no problem to say that word. We are not going to accept asylum requests anymore. Good. Herbert Krinkel, head of the Freedom Party of Austria, FOP, said, polls put his FOP party in first place heading into national elections on September 29th. Good. So it says this poll was conducted on 2,198 Austrians. It is designed to measure right-wing sentiment in society and will be conducted every 2 years. So yeah, every 2 years it's going to keep getting worse, which is why you have all these right-wing parties coming into existence and gaining power. People are desperate. Well, anyway, that's my thoughts on the matter. Take care out there in Clown World.
Mein Leben!